whatever it takes to stop the Blacklist attacks.
Perhaps one of the games to get the biggest cheer of the entire conferences was Splinter Cell. Patrick, you must have felt quite proud at that moment. That Microsoft, that went a bit nuts.
Yeah, it was tremendous. I mean, we didn't know exactly when we were going to be in the order for Microsoft. So when it kind of got sprung on us with coming in right on the heels of of the big opener, it was great for us. And we love the fact that they kept the secret. There was no hint as to what it was that you were about to see. That for me made it really extra special. So then when the reaction came in from the crowd, it was fantastic.
You guys even kept it secret during the start of the video because Sam's coming in complete cloth, and even around me I heard people trying to guess what this was.
Yeah. And were they guessing?
Oh, they were guessing. They were guessing wrong, but I tell you, when Sam unveiled it was big cheer. So Sam's back. Yeah. Where's he been all these years? What have you guys been doing?
Well, okay, so in fact, if you're just talking in terms of our story here, Sam is, it's been 6 months since the end of Conviction, and Sam is really at the beginning of a new phase in his life when we are confronted by this new threat, which is the threat of the Blacklist, this escalating series of attacks, basically coupled around an ultimatum to the U.S. to get your troops, retreat from foreign soil altogether. And this attack is what inspires the president to create this new covert ops organization, Blacker Than Black, which is designated fourth echelon. So that gives you a little bit of a hint at some of the things that might have happened since the last game. And obviously there's only one man who can possibly run this, and that's Sam Fisher.
The great thing about the Splinter Cells games is they seem to adapt for the new wave of mechanics and stuff like that. It always keeps itself refreshed. How have you done that with Blacklist?
It was a really important priority for us to bring a lot of innovative new gameplay features to this particular release. That meant for us that not only were we looking at restoring and upgrading a lot of the classic Splinter Cell features, which our fans were hoping we'd be bringing back yet, but we were also going to be adding a lot of new things. And for us, the big philosophy behind that is it's all about Sam. Right? Sam is a guy who's always one step ahead of his enemies. He's always looking to that next objective, that next target. He always has multiple options available to him, so we needed to give him that arsenal. And philosophically, a big part of that was killing in motion, which is this idea that for a guy of Sam's abilities, he can move fluidly through his environment and through his enemies. He doesn't lose momentum. He's not stopping and engaging enemies. He's constantly on the move. And that's kind of an expression of his kind of predatory, stealthy approach, right?
Well, that's just sort of, like you mentioned, the fluidity of the combat system is just beautiful to watch, and it feels like it is that next step along from what you guys were tampering with Conviction. Did that feel like that logical next step?
Yeah, it did. I mean, for us, Conviction allowed us to introduce some ideas which were super important for us, and which our fans really embraced. But we also knew that the next logical expression of that is that we needed to have that fluidity. We need to keep things moving forward and have that momentum, so that whether Sam is being ultra stealthy and staying to the shadows, or he's taking the more direct confrontational approach, there's always that feeling of forward movement, of momentum, and of engaging the next person.
Can you give us a little sort of talk about what you're showing here at your E3 booth, what players should expect to see?
Right, so what we're showing today and this week actually is kind of an extended version of a sequence that we use obviously on the Microsoft main stage with a lot more elements, a few more things that you didn't get to see that night. A big thing for us is to show that gameplay variety means different perspectives, so the player has opportunities to kind of change their perspective and try using different tools. But this particular segment happens in the context of our storyline relatively early on in the game. So it's a sequence that takes place on the Iran-Iraq border. Fourth Echelon has identified a high-value target, a terrorist commander, and Sam Fisher's basically coming in to try to extract him and get his information.
I just feel like for a series like Splinter Cell, that there's so many twists and turns and secrets and hidden agendas. With Blacklist, does that feel like you're just making a more direct route with the story, or
You know, it's funny. Obviously we're going to have a bunch of reveals about the story in coming months, and I don't want to give away too many of the secrets. I think what's great for us as a structure is, you know, the Blacklist is a very specific kind of threat, and it really, you know, the kind of upfront statement of, you know, we are hitting these targets, and there's nothing you can do about it except comply with our demands, right? That's a very frightening kind of threat. When you know, that creates that feeling of helplessness that none of us want, and the idea that Sam Fisher's the guy that can go in there and confront something like that is kind of at the key of it. So it's a different. I think the structure is actually going to be pretty straightforward. But what's great for us is that's just one piece of game content that we have in Splinter Cell Blacklist, and we are stitching together all of the different aspects and all of the different modes of the game, whether it's a single-player campaign or our co-op gameplay experience or our Spies vs. Mercs gameplay experience that we're super proud to be able to come back to. All of that is going to be knitted together by a common economy system, a common customization system for all of your gear, your weapons, and all of that, as well as this kind of notion of a centralized command post, this hub that Sam operates out of as part of 4th Echelon.
And how are you guys stitching together all those different modes? I mean, have you guys pretty much polished off the campaign and then you're just going on to multiplayer, or is it very much like you've got all the balls juggling in the air at once?
Everything's being worked on at the same time. I mean, it's a huge team of people that are addressing this. What's great about it is, you know, we're obviously bringing a lot of the past experience that a lot of us have had who'd worked on prior Splinter Cells, bringing to the table for that. You know, it's updating and refreshing some things, but the core essence of what made Spies vs. Mercs awesome, what made co-op awesome, and what makes single player awesome, it's all there for the fans.
How do you guys feel about Sam Fisher in today's market, in today's video game market?
I mean, I think that, you know, something that we're seeing is there's been a real renaissance in action adventure, you know, and I think that we're able to take a lot of the unique features of the Splinter Cell world and really embrace that opportunity because fans are clamoring for it. They're really hungry for it. Players would like to have this kind of taut experience in a realistically rendered world with a really good storyline and with a hero who is, you know, lethal and efficient, whose shoes they can step into. And I think we've got all three of those things. We've got Sam, we've got the Blacklist storyline, and we've got gameplay features that I think players are going to be super excited to get a hold of.
Sam that is colder than cold, as we saw in the demo, just shooting a priority target and claiming that he just shot himself.
Well, in fact, Sam wasn't making that up. Jadid, in this case, tried to take control of the situation, wasn't willing to allow himself to be taken alive, and he put the bullet in his own head. But you know, these are the kinds of kind of the moral complexity of the world that Sam lives in. Is that sometimes, you know, the people he's after aren't exactly what they appear to be, and sometimes the people he's working with aren't exactly what they appear to be, and that's part of what makes that world so riveting.
And finally, wrapping up, when can players expect to get playing this?
Right, so spring 2013, we'll be seeing this on Xbox 360, on PlayStation 3, and on PC.
Listen, thank you very much indeed for the time to talk to us. Cheers.